Hey everybody, this is Retrokid reviews and I guess new Nerf armor, who this kind of stuff for John Wick chapter 4. No I guess extended title like Parabellum last time. And first and foremost, yes, this is taking the day after its opening weekend. I don't know the full numbers, but it is a record high for the series, so I got to give them that in advance. And yeah, the plan for this review was to be another figure review with my Diamond Select John here. But one problem, I got a couple of things. Wow. I guess, hang on, one sec. The last 5 minutes of this movie, and got a little call to a Real North Continental, which may or may not be, hopefully, code for whenever they do that show's prequel for the series. So, with that being said, my first overall thoughts of the movie. It is yet another solid entry into the series. It is a solid sequel. If I had a tier list, I think I said this with my brother's family, not family, soon-to-be in-laws. By the way, congratulations to my brother and my soon-to-be sister-in-law. Hi, how y'all doing? To him and his fiance on this one. So with that all being said, it is a busy sequel. At roughly 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, it goes by. This is kind of like an endgame kind of scenario where it's like, yeah, it's 3 hours, but it's exactly where you want to be with the timing because the action sequences are so extensive than they were in the usual sequels. So where to start with John this time around? Any of the plot threads he had with like the Elder from the last movie got like taken out of the game really early on. And with Bill Skarsgård's Marquis, if I got his name right, I have the IMDb on the other screen. Long story short, he stole the show as like the most recognizable villain I think so far for the franchise, which is really saying something with a sea of really not so forgettable to pretty good mid bosses. I feel like the mid bosses throughout the franchise had more name recognition than they did in the actual bosses of the franchise. For John himself this time around, he's angrier than usual, and you can definitely tell with a lot of the action scenes and stuff like that. He just doesn't care anymore. He just wants to take the whole table out as long as he can. And there are new characters, surprisingly. Donnie Yen's Kane is the huge standout. You're probably going to hear about that a lot of the non-spoilers, mainly because his fight scenes are pretty much reminiscent to what he was doing in Rogue One, except with his, like, Ip Man level martial arts style. And you could definitely tell in, like, the Continental Osaka scenes that was very early on in the movie. My apologies to, I think, one of the names I'm going to remember on the Osaka level cast. However, the concierge's daughter might be the setup for that Belladonna spinoff show or movie that they're planning on. Because there was a postcard for her. I won't explain who died where, so that's up to you guys. Also, the biggest elephant in the room when it comes to this week's review is Lance Reddick. Obviously, he passed away before the end of the marketing of this movie, and yeah, I guess since he's no longer here and Sharon gets taken out a lot early in the movie too, it's almost weird that they kind of had that, like, maybe they knew kind of attitude. I think Kind of Funny's in review is thinking that too, I think on Andy's end, but more or less, cards are there in review in case you want to see that. That being said, I don't know, I think he was always meant to be written off, but never really, it wasn't that serendipitous with Lance's passing last week, so I don't really know. Again, I'm not one to theorize that kind of thing. Maybe later down the road when, like, we're a year out after his passing, maybe, but I don't really know. So I'm going to leave it at that. With that being said, since I am talking about Lance's passing, I'm going to do a quick moment of silence. Okay. So, for last of the new characters I want to say is cool. Maria, I think, is from the Osaka, or I could be wrong. Donnie Yen's Kane's daughter. Yeah, both of them have daughters, and one of them is out of the game or never been a part of it, and the other one's in the game and might actually have to avenge Donnie Yen because he takes him out early on, like I said, in this movie. Now, on to the man himself, not John yet, Bowery King from Lawrence Fishburne. He brought his A game when it comes to hyping up John. Like, there was a whole fire entrance early in like the first 2 minutes of the movie, and then when John finally does his, like, yes, it's almost like a 2-syllable word. I know I'm copying and pasting a little bit from Chris Tucker's review, by the way, Card 2. But yeah, you could definitely tell that Keanu's having the most fun being this angrier version of John. weird as it sounds. As much as I wanted to talk about pretty much all the set pieces, I have to talk about the plot this time around. So yeah, since I am talking about the theme of like John's anger, yeah, the High Table pretty much realized he's probably pretty close to taking everything over, so they dispatched Skarsgård's the Marquis to basically do a couple of things, usual hits and stuff like that. But then Winston basically had his New York building to concentrate. Basically, finally blown up like it was a plan to in part 3. So spoilers there. And then this is more most of like the second half of like kicks off plot wise. Like, hey John, any chance you want to like do it on their terms? That way, if he screws up or breaks the rules, it's more on him than you this time around. And it's like, all right, yeah, sure, why not? So it's kind of like that. So most of this movie, like I said, action set pieces wise, is probably the best the series has done in a while. For the director is thankfully the same throughout the whole series. Chris Skaneski, my apologies on his last name. He has been the director of the entire franchise, and you can tell his stunt work has definitely been elevated ever since then. Because I think by the time we make it to the third act in Paris, a lot of things are happening. The one I want to mention the most, that probably everyone's going to be talking about, is the Hotline Miami top-down shotgun kind of sequence with John doing Dragon's Breath rounds with a clipped shotgun. I don't know the name of the actual real still firearm off the top of my head. Thank God I like Nerf. I don't know if you noticed. But yeah, it's very top-down. It's going surgical and stuff like that, like John usually would do with like 3-gunning with shotguns. However, this time around, it's more visceral because, again, you're using Dragon's Breath rounds. So a little bit of real terminology in case anybody knows it doesn't want TOS warnings and stuff like that. The whole idea is essentially a flame round. For those who play Call of Duty, like the modern remakes, you know exactly where this goes. It shoots, you're on fire, blah 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 blah. Exactly. So that being said, when you see the top down like Hotline Miami areas of it, it's very nice. It's very, like I said, visceral, like which always was with most of John's kills throughout the franchise. However, I want to do a quick shout out before I finish this whole thing. I'm gonna land this plane, trust me, guys. It's very worth it. It's very awesome to see. 2 actors. Like I said, new characters. Tracker by, hang on. Where's his name? Oh no. Oh, I just had him. Sneak, I think his name is. My bad in advance if I don't remember him. And Scott Adkins' I guess Kingpin knockoff character was really entertaining to see during the final half of the second act. And yeah, Tracker throughout all this movie was just like aiming for a really specific like bounty total for like him to just finally like buy his way out of the game. And you could tell he's probably going to be in another spin-off of his own because he had a dog. He had a really cool collapsible like backpack that turns into a vest that I really want to implement in my Nerf loadout, weird as it sounds. I guess to be like, I know I never really do real Nerf loadouts of G.I. Joe character ever, but after seeing Outback here, it kind of gives me that kind of like Tracker implications, if anything. But yeah, he has a dog, and they up their game with the dog stunts. You could definitely tell, especially later in Paris with like him jumping from car to car, biting so many dudes' balls. I think doubling down than what they did in chapter 2, and taking a piss on one of the mid bosses. I won't spoil that spot, but it's worth seeing on its own. It's kind of hilarious. But John throughout I think early on in Osaka, where he showcased more of his martial arts than usual, you could definitely tell. Keanu was training harder than usual, I think, during the pandemic or coming after it. Especially like implementing like nunchucks and like pistol wielding kind of stuff. It's very real, very not visceral, but like very like on the level of like tactics you're looking for in a John Wick sequel, and you could definitely tell they learned from that. Going from like I think the case glass room from the last movie, and like, okay, what if we can up that a little more and double down on like some crazier stunts, which you can definitely tell. So, spoilers time. I'm kind of running out of breath talking about the action set pieces. So I'll just finish up what I saw from the Paris section. John gets his ass handed harder than usual, if you can believe that. And it's set to like almost like a tribute to like the Warriors with like a radio announcer just explaining where he's going, where he's tracking, and all that stuff. It's very cool. It's a really good set piece of its own. It went from building to building, like area to area kind of stuff. It switched like every forms of like pistol tactics, every form from like basic combat to like John actually having to do like a knife move, kind of like again straight out of Call of Duty. But then we get to the stairs. Oh my god, let's talk about these stairs, because I think that's one of the most non-spoilers thing people are talking about, that set piece. And that is as advertised from what you've heard in the non-spoilers, because John gets up the stairs due to like his usual combat, tumbles down, eats shit more hilariously than the last time he ate shit, earlier in the para section, by the way, falling 4 stories down that he probably saw in the trailers. No, he keeps eating that much shit and then having to go back up, because I think the plot of, or if you saw the trailers, is that he has to do a duel with Bill Skarsgård's character, Marquis, to finally get his freedom. And this is where the spoilers come in, so in case you guys haven't seen any of this, this is going to probably be time-coded right here, so my bad in advance if I spoil the ending of the movie. But John might be actually gone this time around. I don't buy it, because I think there were rumor mills that there is a Chapter 5 in the works and that Keanu probably signed off to Chapter 5, but I don't know, maybe Winston probably found a way to fake his death so that way he's like legitimately out of the game and you can use him when he's needed for Chapter 5, but that's just me. The duel itself is actually emotional, and it's weird as it sounds, because like I said, Donnie Yen's Kane is one of those old friends John used to have, but like, he's the one that doesn't give a shit the most compared to what Halle Berry was doing in Chapter 2, you could definitely tell. Now that also said, it's just, I'm so sorry, Chapter 3 in Halle's case, my bad. I'm losing track of chapters here, so, the duel is very cool, it's very visceral. Again, like I said early on in this review, I guess Winston wanted to use the rules back at him and try to catch him getting caught breaking it. That way, John could take him out. And it was really cool. I won't spoil that much of the duel. It's very like emotional in like a John Wick way, but it's very emotional. You could definitely tell. Also, shout out to my local theater at my soon to be in-laws borough in Brooklyn, Nighthawk Cinema. I want to get this in real quick because it was a very cool experience, a very nice vibe to the whole thing. It's very for like elevated cinema kind of like experience, and for like watching old school theatrical movies and stuff like that. It was really cool. I do want to say, the pre-show, going into that theater was awesome, because you get to see, like, a good, like, collage of, like, where, Keanu has been, like, all of his old school Letterman interviews, to, like, when people were overanalyzing back in, like, MTV's 90s, when they still gave a shit about pop culture, weird as it sounds, and, I will never forget the funny experience of seeing my brother having to sit through the Johnny Mnemonic Japanese trailer with me, because I never saw the Japanese trailer either, but when he had to go through, it's like, oh wait, Ice-T's here, wait, who the hell's Beat Takeshi? That is literally me when I was going through my retro review. Final card's there in case anyone wants to know. So yeah, I highly recommend Nighthawk Cinema if you're in the Brooklyn area. It is definitely worth seeing, like, the vibe of, like, a John Wick level movie. That is my ideal place, because it's like an AMC, Alamo Drafthouse knockoff kind of place, because you have your dinner there with the movie is really cool. Praising local stuff aside, I guess I have to get to my overall review. Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10. Like, most of the franchises are, like, near 9s, near 10s in this case. There is not a bad, like, scene to the bunch. There is, like, there's no pacing issues that I can see, and if there's anything different, let me know in the comments down below. If you have, like, any, like, if you had to critique this, if you had that one negative thing, if that was, like, that one, I can't believe I'm saying this, nitpicking thing. Wow, it's been a while since I talked about nitpicking here on the show. Anyway, channel-wise, let me know in the comments down below. And with that all being said, I guess tax shooting over here to my end cards for my previous review, which I think was Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Yeah, sorry for that. Other hands over here to my shorts playlist, where I will probably be doing a non-spoilers or any other spoilers review for probably Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, but for my full spoilers review later this week. Tax shirt here to sub the channel, notification bell down below for future 2023 new movie reviews. And with that all being said, take care, subscribe. I am Retrokid Reviews, and yeah, I think he's going to be back in Chapter 5. I got a weird feeling John's going to be back. Anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you again to my brother and his soon-to-be in-laws for the Nighthawk Cinema experience. It was really cool. I highly recommend it. I'll leave a page down below for where you can see any local theater here in the New York area. Till then, take care, and thank you.